What's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with some more NHL 16 and my New York Islanders GM Mode series, and I am one salty person today because I tried to record this earlier, and in the draft, at the end of it, it crashed. The game crashed on me, so we're having to do it again, so I may just have an idea of who I want to draft, but I will say this. I did the draft, well, really, I didn't do the draft. I let the computer... I let the game itself pick every player. We got some good players, we got some bad players, and I'll probably do that again after cheating a little bit. Now, I will say this too. I tried to trade up. We have the 12th overall pick and the 29th. I tried to trade up for Joe Veleno. That's not going to happen. Also, look at this. Now, obviously, this is the Islanders series, not Nations United, but we have two players who could have gone perfectly on Nations United, particularly Kondratiev, the Estonian. My God, he would have been perfect, but... aside from that, let's sim forward here. We are going to go to our first pick. I was going to say, I'm trying to remember to everything I said. I'll start off by saying this. We have a very big offseason coming up. John Tavares is a free agent. A couple of other signings that we really need to take care of. And that was the thing about this series, is it may, in fact, be our last off season. Now, of course, I aim to have daily uploads with this like I did pretty much with Vancouver. I know I missed a couple of days here and there. But I was really hoping for, it basically, I'm getting attached to this series. I really like this series, and it's a shame that we're so close to NHL 17 and knowing that this series is going to end sooner rather than later. Yes, I knew Pillman was top 6. That's why I took him. I knew that from the last part. But it does suck because I am attached. I want to see how this team ends up, how some of these prospects end up, and whether or not, we can go back and win more cups. I mean, obviously the series started off in a ridiculous way, winning 2 straight cups and then obviously just losing in the final, which certainly was disappointing. We also took Darby in the first draft, so I don't remember. I think he's top 9. Yeah, he's top 9, so that's half decent. But overall, definitely, obviously, I'm excited for NHL 17 and what franchise mode will provide. Although I should say, as far as GM mode goes, and these are very, very small nitpicks, but I am interested. And by the way, Kavanaugh right here. He was the first pick where I'm like, fuck it, it's the second round, let me start trading, or let me start doing the sim and letting the game pick. And yeah, he ends up being elite. But that raises my point. There were 2 things that I wanted to bring up, and that was that, a very small nitpick, as I just absolutely smashed my elbow on the desk, as I tend to do. Player names, I'd like them to be better. You shouldn't be seeing a Craig Smith from Belarus, maybe more team-specific stuff or nation-specific stuff. But the other big one, of course, was the fact that you have so many guys whose potentials change, throughout. Like Alex Nylander, for example, is a magnificent example. We drafted him, he was top 6, and then we go, and now I think he's still a low bottom, or a low top 9, which is pretty much what he was the entire time. He was kind of a little bit of a bust. This trade, I think the reason, and I'm trying to cram in so much information here, and I'm rambling, and I'm sorry. That trade is because of the ridiculous amount of draft picks that we had. I'm not sure if that's why the game crashed the first time out. I'm actually going to get rid of some more of these picks. I just want to make sure that the draft doesn't crash once again. But God, I don't even know where I was. Like I said, I'm trying to cram so much information in here. But basically, I can sum it up as saying, it sucks that this series is going to end somewhat quickly. Obviously, I was hoping to make it just a little bit further. But who knows what this next series will bring. And maybe we will get another series or another season in there. From this point on, I am going to draft. I'm just going to let the computers do it, and obviously that first pick was a very big swing and a miss by the AI. But this is what I'm going to do, just to balance it out. Who knows who they're going to give me, but I don't know. It makes for an interesting thing. as it is, these picks are at random, and like I said, with the potentials, if it's not the game just randomly deciding, oh, we're not going to recognize the fact that you've scouted this region 6 times and we have no data on this player who played in that region, like Sedlak, for example, I won't be surprised if he ends up being top 6. I won't be surprised if he ends up being AHL top 2, and maybe that goes hand in hand with the fact that, the scouting's a bit weird, in the game. I'm not sure. But we'll just see how this goes as far as these picks. And then, like I said, we do have man, that last pick was terrible. Holy shit. We do have a pretty damn big offseason ahead of us. Man, this this strategy is really failing me. There are a lot of shit picks coming in. A lot of AHL guys that are going to be traded. But like I said, the free agency and the re-sign phase, we're having to re-sign guys like Tavares. We're going to have to trade away 90% of these draft picks because this strategy is really failing me right now. And then we have a ton of guys too, like Daniel Winnick, Spencer Abbott, Danny Paille, Brian Gibbons, guys like that we signed as depth. They're, of course, going to have to go. Have to hope to sign their replacements. Let's see here. I'm not even sure how many more picks we have left in this draft. We get Howard Chuck, another AHL level guy. This strategy worked out much better the first time. It's a shame you guys couldn't see how well that strategy went. Now, I can really only hope, too, that the game doesn't crash again, because, my God, won't I be pissed to have lost this file. But overall, I feel like I'm definitely forgetting to say something. Let's see, what did I mention? I mentioned Tavares. I mentioned the draft crashing. I mentioned potentials. I think I got everything in there. And if I didn't, there'll be a little pop-up on the screen right about now for whatever I forgot to say. And I believe that's our last pick. Indeed, the 5th round pick. At the end of the 5th round was our last pick. Those are our draft picks. We had about 10 more the first time around. Fingers crossed that the game doesn't crash. Please. Please. Okay, good. We're good. We're good to go. And we're going to move on to the re-sign phase. We have 8 skaters, including Ryan Pulock, that need to be re-signed. The goal, of course, is to win another cup. Whether or not that happens, who knows, but we'll see. And like I said, maybe we can squeeze more than one more season into this. But looking here, the goalie situation is just absurd. Absolutely absurd. Unfortunately, we have to let go of Thomas Greiss. Linus Soderstrom is going to have to be the backup. We also have to sign Ingram and Cormier, so that's going to create a bit of a logjam as far as goalies go. I'm not going to sign them yet. I want to wait to see what happens. But man, we have an incredible amount of solid goalie prospects. Dan Hamhuis is going to be let go. Like I said, he was a rental, a pretty high-priced rental. But we have Pulock, we have Pelech, and of course the hope is that Pelech is able to, have just a little bit of growth. Let's see here. Ryan Pulock. I'm not convinced he's going to turn into an amazing defenseman, so I think we will just try to sign him for what he is asking for, as opposed to Nations United, where I have certainly taken some liberties. Man, Adam Pelech is looking for a lot of money. We'll sign him to 2 years, hopefully. Hopefully he accepts that. And let's see, Robert Bortuzzo is one of those players that needs to go. Parker Wotherspoon's up to an 80, so who knows, he might be in position to be making the team. We can get him for 1 more year on a 2-way, and then we'll have to re-sign him next year. I think that's probably the best way to go, and we'll save a little bit of money. Chris Butler is gone. Mark Alt is gone. Brian Straight is gone. Case in point, we are going to have to really fill out this roster here. The concerning thing, too, and maybe I should have taken that draft a bit more seriously, and maybe if I knew we wouldn't be doing, 2 seasons at most, I would have, because we definitely need some defensive prospects, because all of our defensive prospects have pretty much graduated. Pulock started at, a 76, Pelech, Finn, even though we traded him away and got him back, Wotherspoon, Van de Sompel, all guys that, are graduating on and that we need to replace, and things are looking a little bit rough defensively. I mean, that's a pretty easy fix in terms of trading here or there, but let's see. Moving on, Shane Prince needs a new deal. He is 25. He is not going to be much better than a third liner, so we'll give him what he wants, that 2-year deal. Landon Ferraro needs to go. Brian Gibbons needs to go. Spencer Abbott is also on his way out. He had a pretty good season, though. Jeremiah Addison, we definitely need to resign. He's one of those guys that I'm excited to see what he would turn into. You know, I really like, I've said it a million times, I really like that deal, Gormley for Addison, and, Jesus, Matt Bradley, I almost forgot his name. Case in point, Nylander's still low top 9, despite the fact that he was drafted as, I believe, a medium top 6, so that was pretty disappointing. We also have a lot of AHL guys, but these overalls very well could change before the start of the season. Fleischman, Paille, Winnick all need to go. We need to re-sign Bradley. That's what I was thinking of. The auto draft worked out well in the past because it gave us Matthew Strome in the 2017 draft, and I almost passed up on him, which would have been absolutely horrifying because he should be a very strong player. Good news is Pillman stayed. I can't remember that. Who was that guy that I was trying to make an example out of in terms of his overall changing? I do not remember. Antoine Vermette needs to go. We need to re-sign John Tavares, of course. And I don't think it's cheap to sign Tavares to an 8-year deal. Do you guys? I mean, yeah, it also lowers the contract, the money total. But I can't, I mean, Stamkos just signed a pretty strong deal. I can't imagine if Tavares really wanted to stay, that 8 years would be that unrealistic. Derek Smith needs a new deal. We'll try 2.25 for 2 years. Alan Quine needs a new deal. I'm only going to give him 2 years. Actually, I'll give him 1 year. He's not. I don't think he's going to be an NHLer. I don't see that happening. We'll see if he accepts that 1-year deal. And man, our contracts really dropped. Jesus Christ, that name. Salinitri. It always takes me a second to remember how to pronounce that. Salinitri needs his entry-level deal. And I think that's it. So we're actually looking really good on contracts here. So we can go and sign Ingram and Cormier to their entry-level deals. And then that's pretty much it. So yeah, the free agency period is going to be interesting because we're definitely going to need to probably do what we did with, Paille and Brian Gibbons and just get guys in here because our prospect pool is looking pretty weak compared to what it was looking like when we first took over. I mean, Bridgeport was absolutely brutal. Wotherspoon's back, Tavares, Prince, Pulock, Pelech, Smith, Quine, Addison, Cormier, Salinitri, Ingram, and Bradley. Was that everybody? I think it was. We have $9 million in cap space. Let's see. Unrestricted free agents, none. Restricted free agents. I didn't notice that Mitch Van de Sample was a restricted free agent. And he is looking for a one-way contract, which is a pretty rough situation. I don't think he'll... If I give him a 1-year deal, the max 2-way contract, I want to see if he'll accept that, because unless he really jumps up to, like an 83, I don't want him on a 1-way contract because we wouldn't be able to use him. And he accepted. Okay, so that problem is gone. Let's move on to free agency. And I still feel like I'm forgetting something from that first bit of the draft, but I'm going to have to get over that, I guess. Let's look at free agents, see who is available. Kyle Turris, Vander Kane, Cam Fowler, Troy Stetcher is available. That would be great. A couple of other guys. Drake Caggiula also available. We could have one hell of a Vancouver reunion, as this is, like I said, potentially our last season. Now, we don't need another goalie at all, but Trevor Harvey, a 4th-round pick of the Stars. The question is, how cheap do I want to be in these last season or two? And that is really the question. Like, we don't need Harvey at all, but God, I really want to sign him. Sean Day is available. Like, that's the question, is kind of how cheap do I be here? But then again, they also hit the free agent market, so it is kind of free for the taking. All right. Oh, what do we do here? What do we do? I think I want to sign Harvey. So allow me really quickly to trade a defenseman. I think I'll just have this whole episode be live for the hell of it. But let's see here. Cormier, Adam Werner, Troy Timpano. Troy Timpano is a fringe starter. Werner high backup. Like, we really don't need another goalie in the slightest. But let's see here. Should I get rid of Timpano? You know, he wasn't drafted by us. Should I get rid of Troy Timpano? We have Ingram. We have Cormier. It's Werner or Timpano. Werner has the higher value. Timpano has the better potential. Let's get rid of Troy Timpano. Who was he drafted by again, or was he undrafted? I think he was undrafted, so we can just send him to whomever we want, and we'll send him to Anaheim. They need a goalie, and we can get an extra draft pick. Let me look at his value again. How about a third and a sixth for Troy Timpano? Okay, how about just a third? That's not happening either. I want that third round pick, so how about I tack on Boston's seventh? I'm all right with that. Timpano in the seventh for a third round pick. That's not a bad bit of business. I could have just gone to free agency off of that menu, but that is okay. Now let's let me know what you guys think of this decision. We might not even sign him. He might not accept. But let me know what you think. Is it a little bit cheap? Maybe. Is it kind of a shortcut? Maybe. But also, I kind of don't care. Like, he's clearly a good goalie. We could sign, like, God, we have Brett Irving as well. Like, would I want to get rid of Adam Werner for a medium starter? God, I kind of want to. You know what? Let me know what you guys think of this. But I think I might be just a little bit cheap here as we move on and do the rest of this series. Adam Werner. This will probably come back to haunt me, but for shits and giggles, we'll send him to Columbus, just as we happen to do in the Vancouver series, and he'll end up being their starter eventually, right? Can we get a second round pick? We cannot, but we will, because I'm going to trade some lower picks. How about a seventh round pick and Adam Werner for your second? That didn't work. We'll tack on a sixth, and we are going to make this work. God damn it, Columbus. You're wasting my time. You are going to give in. This trade is going through. You sons of bitches. This trade, let me say it again, is going through. You bastards. Alright, fine. Don't take the seventh. Take another fifth round pick. This trade is going through. Fine. You know what? 4 fifth round picks. Whatever. Who cares, right? Those fifth round picks end up being AHL potential guys, and I trade them anyway. Fuck it. Are you... Yeah, you're damn right it's quite close to fair value. Jarmo Kekalainen, you are a twat. Accept this trade and quit wasting my time. Thank you. Adam Werner is once again a Blue Jacket, and we pick up a second round pick. That was stressful. Holy shit. Going back to goalies. And again, it's pretty cheap, but they are free agents, so who cares? We'll give Irving a max deal as well, and then we'll see what the goalie situation's looking like at the start of the season, and we'll move on from there. There's also Wells, Dylan Wells. Like, if I was being fair, I would have only signed Dylan Wells and maybe Sawchenko, but we're not being fair. We'll be cheap as hell here. Looking at goalie prospects, too, because why the hell not? You know what? Sean Day hit the market. I don't care. He's available. We are going for him. We'll give him a max deal. Are there any other decent prospects? We got Johansson, a Blues a first-round pick of the Blues. They let him go to free agency, man. Don't be too mad at me. I mean, is this ruining the integrity of this series? Maybe. Like, let me know what you think. But I am, without a doubt, signing these free agents if they accept, which, I mean, I'm handing them all max contracts. I can't imagine that they won't accept. But, like I said, this is the last series on NHL, 16, obviously this and Nations United. NHL 17, we are certainly going to look to take a more realistic approach. Now, whether or not that ends up being the case or not remains to be seen. Of course, I imagine, and I should say this too, I will have a poll up maybe on this video or shortly, so keep an eye out on the description of my videos, where I'll let you guys, of course, pick who we will use in NHL 17. We don't really need a starter either. Like, our defense is pretty much set. Like, I could look to sign Cam Fowler or Stetcher. Let's see here, because maybe now's the time to trade Johnny Boychuk. Fowler's a lefty, so he would be in over Calvin DeHaan. Stetcher is a righty, so he could potentially be into the lineup. Colin Miller is also a righty. And, you know, I think we'll end this episode here with free agency once we get it clear, and then the start of the next episode will be cleaning up before the start of the season and simming probably to the trade deadline or the All-Star break of the next episode, because this episode, I think, is probably 20 minutes-ish already, but that's okay. You know, the longer the episode, the more info and the more progress we make. So Letty's a lefty, Boychuk's a righty, Hamonick's a righty. Okay, so it would have to be Hamonick or Boychuk going if it was a lefty, and then or if it was a righty, and then Calvin DeHaan going if it's a lefty. So let's take a look at defensemen one more time. Cam Fowler would replace Calvin DeHaan. I think I'm okay with that. Let's see if we can get in on the Cam Fowler sweepstakes. We'll go 3 years at 6.3. We won't be cheap about it, and we'll just see if he accepts. That's risky, of course, because we only have $9 million in cap space, but if he accepts, we can move on and sign somebody else. And then Troy Stetcher will look to potentially... You know what? I think we'll stay with Hamonick. I think we'll stay with Hamonick and Boychuk. Yeah, we will. Stetcher's more about the future. I would love to bring him back. I really would. I'd love to have like him and Kajula on our team here to finish up the series. But we will let him go. Taking a look at right wings, there's nobody we really need as far as players go. Are there any decent potential guys? There is one here, Albin Storm, a third-round pick of the Vancouver Canucks. I hope I have enough roster spots to do this. Clearly, I'm not putting much thought into this. I'm just kind of reacting. We'll look to sign Ty Ronning as well. And fuck it, Maxime Fortier, come on down. We've drafted you before. I think we drafted him with Vancouver. He can come back. Left wings. My God, this episode is going to be long as hell. Evander Kane, we definitely can't sign. David Perron, I wouldn't want to sign. Drake Caggiula. He's a second-line guy, and he wouldn't fit in either. Any decent prospects, Caggiula is the best. Vitaly Abramov has hit. St. Louis and Toronto are going to battle it out for him. And we're going to give him a max deal to see if he accepts. Brendan Gignac is available. Again, cheap as hell to just sign all the best free agents. Anybody can do it. And that's why I'm doing it, because screw it. It'll make life just a little bit easier here. Because I want to win one more cup. That's the goal at this point. And then centers. Jesus, we have 14 contract offers out there. Kyle Turris, obviously we don't need... although, really, we do kind of need him because... Wow, I forgot his name. Holy shit. What's his name? Matthew Barzal is a terrible center. His face-off rating was garbage, but he is a first-line center, so we'll pass. We could sign Mikhail Grabovski again. Let's see. Garland, not good enough. You know, he is, but he's 23. So we'd have Bitten, Bastian, Mascherine, and Koch. My God. We could sign a lot of players, and you know what? We'll try to do just that. So let's see. Will Bitten, we will give you a deal. Bastian, we will give you a deal. And Mascherine, we will give you a deal. I don't know if everybody will accept their offers. Hopefully they do. I might even go look to see if there's anybody that clearly we're not going to want that we can get rid of. I did not plan on sending out as many contract offers as we did. We have 13 spots. So we may just have to trade somebody here. Let's look to see who is under contract. Right now we have this trio of high bottom six guys, including Tyler Soy. Salinitri, Sokolov, left wings. We have Grundstrom, who is now low bottom 6. I think I'm going to let him go. He ended up getting scratched, too, at the end of the last season down in Bridgeport. We will see what we can get for him. Can we get a second-round pick out of him? A second and a sixth, maybe? Is that too much? Yeah, it's probably too much. How about just a second? They wouldn't do that. So same thing. We will go in and offer some of those lower picks. How about a seventh? No. How about a sixth and a seventh? I could have just left that seventh-round pick up there. How does that sound, Anaheim? That doesn't sound too well, apparently. And now you guys see why I edit my videos as much as I do. But today, we're just going for it. We're doing what we have to do. Grundstrom, a 5th, 6th, and a 7th for an Anaheim 2nd. Clears out a little bit of extra space. Right wings, who do we have under contract? We have Hosang, who might make the roster. We have Addison. I think defensemen are going to be the big ones here. We have Clinton Rafalski, Noah Carroll. I don't want to let go of either of them. I think they might end up making it, but that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to let go of both of them and potentially send them to Boston. Let's see what we can get. Can we get a second-round pick out of this? I don't know if we can. Actually, that bar looks to be in our favor. How about a second and a sixth? Boston has like no picks. Second and a sixth, I'll take that for 2 7th D. We now have 16 contract spots available. How many contracts did we send out? We sent out 18. All right, can I clear out 2 more people? Is the question. Can I clear out 2 more people and make this work? Let's find out. Let's see here. We'll look at contracts once again. We'll just look at all the forwards. Let's see. I don't want to get rid of bottom 6. All right, Salinitri and Sokolov. They are going to be the last 2 out the door as this episode approaches half an hour, I do believe. At least that's what the live timer says. How about a second rounder, a 5th, and a 6th to Winnipeg for Salinitri and Sokolov? They wouldn't take it. How about just a second and a 5th? They wouldn't take it. Just a second? They wouldn't take it, even though the bar is clearly in our favor. So let's go their next 2 thirds and a 5th. I'm all right with that. Are they? They are not. 2 thirds. Jesus Christ, these guys are stingy. Winnipeg, what's the matter? How about a 3rd and a 6th? Thank you. I did them a favor, if anything. So let's move forward and see if we can sign all of these players. I might even need to clear out one more spot, and there might be that type of... Actually, there would be that type of thing because of the goalies. Shit. All right, let's see. Well, Will Bitton is here. Bastian, Fortier, Gignac, Sartoris, Ronning have accepted. So let's see here. Let me go look at the goaltenders. And we are certainly closing in on the end of this episode. Thank God. I never like putting up episodes that are this long. We actually only have 4 goalies under contract. I forgot about that. We traded the other guys. All right. So you know what? Let's just see what happens here. Let's see who signs. We've already brought in some solid prospects. Let's see what else happens here. Mascherine is here. Sean Day is here. Tim Gettinger, Loic Lavalier, Vitaly Abramov, Davis Koch, Lucas Johansson, Albin Storm, or Strom, it was a Storm, right? Colin Fontana, Brett Irving, Trevor Harvey are all here. So needless to say, our prospect situation is looking okay. Cam Fowler has rejected, saying he wanted a higher salary. I gave him exactly what he wanted, but he declined. So let's see here. We have $8 million in cap space. Let me look really quickly at the contracts and just... come on, menu system. Don't do this to me. View contracts. So let's see here. Of course, we have $8 million available. We are at 49 of 50. So I'm pretty sure that was the last deal on the table, was Cam Fowler. We will see if there's anybody else we could potentially bring in. The money situation isn't a problem because everybody else that we signed was cheap. Fowler's gone. Is Kevin Miller a lefty? Or Colin Miller? Jesus, he's a righty. Oh, and... all right, I think that'll do it because I don't want to bring in Johnson, and Troy Stetcher is gone. So that will do it for this episode. An extremely long episode, as I just saw Stetcher went to Minnesota. Evander Kane is a Ranger. Stuff like this I'll definitely have to do more of with NHL 17, showing you guys where people ended up going. That's something I really need to get better at. But overall, let me know what you think. If you made it to the end of this episode, you are a goddamn hero, and I cannot thank you enough. Let me know what you thought of how we handled the draft with the ridiculous simming. Let me know what you thought of how I handled free agency. And let me know, too, if there are any changes I should make heading in to the next season. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I normally don't like having videos be this long, but again, if you made it to the end of this, I can't thank you enough. I am rambling. As always, guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.